Nathan Blake pressed his face against the cold metal wall of his prison cell. The energy barrier hummed softly, a constant reminder that he was trapped. 3 years had passed since they brought him to this ship. 3 long years of staring at these same 4 walls. He looked down at his hands. These were the hands that had saved thousands of lives back on Earth. These were the hands that could stop bleeding in seconds, fix broken bones with a touch, and bring people back from the edge of death. Now the galaxy called these same hands weapons. The irony made him laugh, but it was a bitter sound. Dr. Nathan Blake, once the most famous surgeon on Earth, was now prisoner number 7749 Alpha aboard the Zephyrian detention ship called Judgment's Edge. His crime was simple to understand but impossible to accept. He had developed medical techniques that worked too well. Nathan walked to the small window in his cell. Through the thick glass he could see the medical bay of the ship. Zephyrian doctors moved around in their slow, careful way. They were reptile-like creatures, tall and thin with green, scaly skin. Their medical traditions went back thousands of years, and they were proud of their ancient methods. But their methods were not working. Nathan watched as another patient died on the operating table. The Zephyrian doctors shook their heads and covered the body. It was the 3rd death this week. Nathan knew he could have saved that patient in 10 minutes, maybe less. The door to his cell made a soft beeping sound. Nathan turned as the energy barrier flickered and disappeared. Commander Vera Knox stepped inside. She was human like Nathan, with short brown hair and tired eyes. She had been his friend once, back when they worked together on Earth. "Hello, Nathan," Vera said. She sat down on the small chair near Nathan's bed. "How are you feeling today?" "The same as yesterday," Nathan replied. "The same as every day for 3 years." Vera nodded. She understood his pain. "I have news from Earth," she said. "The situation is getting worse." Nathan sat down across from her. Every week Vera brought him news from home. It was never good news anymore. "The Galactic Medical Council met again last week," Vera continued. "They are pushing harder to classify all human medical workers as dangerous. The Zephyrians are leading the campaign, of course." Nathan clenched his fists. "We save lives, Vera. That is all we do. How can saving lives be dangerous?" "You know why," Vera said quietly. "Your regeneration techniques work too fast. You can heal wounds that should take months to recover from. You can bring people back from clinical death. To other species, that looks like magic. And magic scares them." Nathan stood up and walked back to the window. In the medical bay below, he could see a young Altarian child lying on a bed. The child's blue skin was pale and machines beeped around him. Nathan could tell from here that the child was dying. The Zephyrian doctors were trying their best, but their treatments were too slow. "That child down there," Nathan said, pointing through the window. "He has blood poisoning, simple case. On Earth I could cure him in an hour. Here he will die in 2 days." Vera joined him at the window. She looked down at the child and sighed. "I know," she said. "But if you tried to help him, they would say you were contaminating him with human methods. They would say you were making him dependent on human medicine, so we let him die instead? According to galactic law, yes." Nathan hit the wall with his fist. The metal made a loud clang, but it did not dent. "This is insane, Vera. We could help so many people. We could save lives every day. Instead, we sit in prison while patients die from things that are easy to cure." Vera put her hand on Nathan's shoulder. "I know it is hard, but you have to understand their point of view. Humans are new to the galaxy. We have only been here for 50 years. Other species have been traveling space for thousands of years. They have their own ways of doing things. Their ways kill people. Sometimes, yes, but their ways are also stable. They do not change much. Human medicine changes every year. New techniques, new drugs, new ways of healing, that scares them." Nathan turned away from the window. "So what happens now? Do I stay here forever?" Vera was quiet for a moment. "There is talk of moving you to a permanent prison on Kepler 442b. It is a small planet with no civilization. You would live there alone for the rest of your life." The thought made Nathan feel cold inside. Bad as this prison ship was, at least he could see other people. At least Vera visited him. On a prison planet, he would have nothing. There is something else, Vera said. The medical council is also talking about banning all human doctors from practicing medicine anywhere in the galaxy. If that happens, every human medical worker will lose their job. Thousands of people. Nathan sat down heavily on his bed. Because of me. Because of what you represent, Vera corrected. You are the best example of human medical ability. Your techniques are the most advanced. If they can prove that you are dangerous, they can argue that all human doctors are dangerous. Through the wall, Nathan could hear the sounds of the medical bay. Machines beeping, doctors talking in low voices, the soft footsteps of nurses. Somewhere in that bay, people were suffering. People were dying. And he could help them, but he was not allowed to. I became a doctor to save lives, Nathan said quietly. It was the only thing I ever wanted to do. Even as a child, I knew I wanted to heal people. I remember, Vera said. You were the best student in medical school. You could diagnose patients faster than anyone. You had a gift. And now that gift is considered a curse. Vera stood up to leave. I have to go now. The guards only give me 30 minutes each week. Nathan nodded. Will you come next week? If they let me. Vera paused at the door. Nathan, I want you to know that not everyone thinks you are dangerous. There are people fighting for you. People who remember all the lives you saved. After Vera left, Nathan was alone again. He walked back to the window and looked down at the medical bay. The Altarian child was still there, still dying slowly. Nathan could see the exact treatment the child needed. It would be so simple, so easy. But instead, Nathan could only watch. The galaxy's greatest healer was also its greatest prisoner. And somewhere in the cold depths of space, people continued to die from things that should never kill anyone. Nathan closed his eyes and tried not to think about all the patients he could not save. But their faces haunted him every night. And he knew they always would. Nathan was eating his daily ration of protein paste when the alarm started. Red lights flashed throughout his cell, and a loud siren echoed through the prison ship. He had never heard these alarms before in his 3 years aboard Judgment's Edge. The energy barrier to his cell flickered but stayed active. Through his window, Nathan could see Zephyrian guards running through the corridors. Their usually calm movements were now quick and panicked. Something big was happening. 20 minutes later, the alarm stopped. Nathan pressed his ear to the wall, trying to hear what was going on. Voices spoke in the Zephyrian language, too fast and too distant for him to understand, but he could hear the fear in their tones. Hours passed before anyone came to explain. When his cell door finally opened, it was not Vera who entered. Instead, High Medical Officer Slixkorth stepped inside. The tall Zephyrian rarely spoke to Nathan directly. His presence meant something serious was happening. Human prisoner, Slixkorth said in his slow, careful English. You will listen to information. Nathan stood up from his bed. What kind of information? A ship in distress has contacted us. A luxury liner called Stellar Crown. Many passengers are sick with unknown disease. Nathan felt his heart rate increase. What kind of disease? Slixkorth's scaled face showed disgust. A plague that turns blood into crystal. Very fast death. Very painful death. Spreads through air between people. How many infected? All passengers and crew. Over 3,000 beings from 6 different species. Nathan felt cold inside. 3,000 people dying from a disease that could spread through the air. What do your doctors say about treatment? Our treatments do nothing. Galactic medicine has no cure for this disease. All infected will die within 3 days. Let me help them, Nathan said immediately. I can look at the medical data. Maybe I can find something your doctors missed. Slixkorth made a sound that might have been laughter in his species. You are prisoner. You cannot help. You are dangerous to galactic medical practices. People are dying, Nathan shouted. 3,000 people. How can helping them be dangerous? Human methods are not permitted. You know this. Nathan grabbed the bars of his cell, even though there were no physical bars, only energy. Then why are you telling me about it? Before Slickskorth could answer, another alarm started. This one was different, slower, and deeper. Slickskorth's eyes widened and he spoke quickly into his communication device in the Zephyrian language. What is that alarm? Nathan asked. Priority communication from Terran Defense Force, Slickskorth said. He looked uncomfortable. Nathan knew. That meant Admiral Lisa Carter was calling. She was the highest-ranking human military officer in this sector of space. If she was contacting the prison ship directly, the situation was worse than he thought. Slickskorth left Nathan's cell without another word. Through his window, Nathan could see the main communication room. A large screen showed Admiral Carter's face. Even from a distance, Nathan could see the stress in her expression. The conversation lasted an hour. Nathan watched Slickskorth argue with other Zephyrian officers. Sometimes they pointed toward Nathan's section of the ship. The discussion was clearly about him. Finally, Slickskorth returned to Nathan's cell. His scaled face looked even more unhappy than before. Admiral Carter, request your assistance with the plague ship, he said. And? I told her this is impossible. You are a dangerous prisoner. You use forbidden human techniques. Nathan stepped closer to the energy barrier. What did she say to that? She said the plague ship is heading toward Centauri Hub. 40 billion people live there. If the disease reaches that population center, it could kill everyone in the system. Nathan felt his blood run cold. Centauri Hub was one of the largest population centers in the galaxy. 40 billion beings from dozens of different species lived and worked there. If this plague reached them, it would be the largest disaster in galactic history. She also said, Slickskorth continued, that scans of the plague show it targets cellular structures common to most space-traveling species, but humans show partial resistance. Partial resistance? Human evolutionary development was different from other species. Your immune systems work in unusual ways. The plague affects humans, but much slower. Nathan's mind started working. If humans had natural resistance, that meant their immune systems might hold clues to fighting the disease. His medical knowledge could be the key to saving billions of lives. I need to see the medical data, Nathan said. I need readings from the infected patients, blood samples, cellular analysis, everything. Impossible. You are prisoner. Slickskorth, listen to me. I understand you think human medicine is dangerous. I understand your concerns about our methods, but this is bigger than politics. This is about saving 40 billion lives. The Zephyrian was quiet for a long moment. Nathan could see the conflict in his alien features. Everything Slickskorth believed about human medicine told him to refuse. But the numbers were too big to ignore. Admiral Carter said if we do not allow your assistance, she will contact the Galactic Emergency Council. She will request immediate jurisdiction over this prison ship. Nathan knew what that meant. If the Emergency Council took control, they could override Zephyrian authority. They could force Slickskorth to release Nathan. What did you tell her? I told her I would consider her request. How long do we have? The plague ship will reach Centauri Hub in 6 days, but passengers are dying every hour. Soon there may be no one left alive to treat. Nathan felt the familiar feeling he got when working on difficult cases. Time pressure, life and death decisions, and the need to think fast. It was what he lived for as a doctor. I need access to the medical data now, Nathan said. Every hour we wait, more people die. Slickskorth looked toward the communication room, then back at Nathan. If I allow this and your methods cause harm, I will be responsible. If you don't allow this and 40 billion people die, you will be responsible for that too. The Zephyrian stood still for several minutes. Nathan could almost see the thoughts moving through his alien mind. Finally, Slickskorth made a decision. You will be given limited access to medical data through your cell terminal. You will not be allowed to leave this cell. You will not be allowed to treat patients directly. You will only advise our doctors. It was not what Nathan wanted, but it was a start. I agree to those conditions. If you attempt to use forbidden human techniques, This arrangement ends immediately. Nathan nodded, though he already knew he might have to break that promise. If people were dying, he would do whatever was necessary to save them, regardless of the consequences. As Slickskorth left to arrange the data access, Nathan looked out his window toward the stars. Somewhere out there, 3,000 people were dying from a plague that might kill billions more. For the first time in 3 years, Dr. Nathan Blake had patients who needed him. The galaxy's greatest healer was about to practice medicine again. Nathan stared at the medical data on his cell terminal. The numbers were worse than he had imagined. Blood samples from the stellar crown showed something that made his stomach turn. The plague was not just killing people. It was turning their blood into sharp red crystals that cut through their bodies from the inside. He had been studying the data for 12 hours straight. His eyes hurt and his back ached from sitting hunched over the small screen. But he could not stop. Every hour meant more deaths aboard the plague ship. The door to his cell opened. Nathan expected to see Slickskorth, but instead 2 armed Zephyrian guards entered. Behind them walked Captain Ryan Murphy, a human security officer Nathan had never seen before. "Dr. Blake," Captain Murphy said, "I am here to escort you to the Stellar Crown." Nathan looked up from his terminal. "What?" "Admiral Carter has ordered your transfer to the plague ship. You will work directly with the medical team there." "But Slickskorth said I could not leave this cell." Captain Murphy's face was grim. "The situation has changed. 30 more people died in the last 4 hours. The Galactic Emergency Council has given Admiral Carter full authority over this case." One of the Zephyrian guards stepped forward. "The prisoner will be under maximum security at all times. Any attempt to escape will result in immediate termination." Nathan stood up slowly. After 3 years in his cell, the thought of leaving felt strange and frightening. But the thought of finally being able to help patients felt even stronger. "What equipment will I have access to?" Nathan asked. "Limited medical tools only," Captain Murphy replied. "Nothing that could be used as a weapon. You will work under constant supervision." 20 minutes later, Nathan was aboard a small transport ship heading toward the Stellar Crown. Through the window he could see the luxury liner in the distance. It was a beautiful ship, white and silver with elegant curves. But Nathan knew that inside it was a place of death. Captain Murphy sat across from Nathan during the journey. "I want you to understand something, Dr. Blake. I do not like this situation. I think human medical techniques are dangerous, but I also do not want to see 40 billion people die." "I understand your concerns," Nathan said, "but I need you to trust me. I am going to do everything I can to save lives. That is what worries me." When they docked with the Stellar Crown, Nathan was shocked by what he saw. The normally bright corridors were dim and filled with the smell of death. Bodies lay covered in sheets along the walls. Some of the sheets were stained red where blood had leaked out. Dr. Amy Foster met them at the airlock. She was a young human woman with blonde hair and frightened eyes. She wore a full environmental suit to protect herself from the plague. "Dr. Blake," she said through her suit's communication system, "I am so glad you are here. The situation is desperate." "How many are still alive?" Nathan asked. "Less than 800 out of 3,000. The death rate is accelerating." Nathan felt sick. In the time it had taken to get him here, over 2,000 people had died. "Show me the worst cases first, Dr. Tur." Foster led them through the ship. Nathan had to step carefully around bodies and avoid looking too closely at the red stains on the walls. The plague was turning the beautiful luxury liner into a nightmare. In the medical bay, Nathan saw patients lying on beds surrounded by machines. But these were not normal patients. Their skin had a strange red tint, and Nathan could see dark lines under their skin where crystallized blood was forming. "This is Zilka," Dr. Foster said, pointing to a bed where a tall, thin alien lay unconscious. "She is a diplomat from the hegemony. She has been fighting the plague for 2 days." Nathan looked at Zilka's readings. Her blood pressure was dropping and her breathing was shallow. The crystals in her blood were getting larger and sharper. She would die within hours. "What treatments have you tried?" Nathan asked. "Everything in the Galactic Medical Database," Pain medications, blood thinners, cellular regeneration therapy. Nothing works. The plague adapts to every treatment. Nathan studied the medical scanners. The plague was unlike anything he had ever seen. It was not a virus or bacteria. It was something artificial, something designed, and it was specifically targeting the cellular structures that most space-traveling species shared. "I need to examine a blood sample directly," Nathan said. Security Chief Tony Gray, one of the guards watching Nathan, stepped forward. "You are not authorized to handle biological samples directly." "Then I cannot help these people," Nathan said firmly. "I need to see the plague up close to understand how it works." Dr. Foster looked between Nathan and the security chief. "Sir, with respect, we are running out of time. If Dr. Blake cannot examine samples, we cannot develop new treatments." Tony Gray spoke into his communication device. After a few minutes, he nodded. "You may examine samples, but only under direct supervision." Nathan put on protective gloves and took a small sample of Zilka's blood. Under the microscope, he could see the horror of what the plague was doing. The red blood cells were being converted into sharp crystal structures. But there was something else, something the other doctors had missed. "The crystals are not random," Nathan said. "They are forming in specific patterns. This plague is not just killing people. It is rebuilding their blood into something else." "What do you mean?" Dr. Foster asked. "This is not a natural disease. This is an engineered weapon. Someone designed this plague to kill specific types of beings." Nathan looked at more samples. The pattern became clearer. The plague was targeting genetic markers common to most galactic species. But humans, with their unique evolutionary history, had some resistance. "I need to try something," Nathan said. "But it will require techniques that the galaxy has banned." Tony Gray shook his head. "Absolutely not. You are forbidden from using human experimental techniques. Then these people will die." Nathan said. "All of them." Dr. Foster grabbed Nathan's arm. "What technique are you talking about?" "Aggressive cellular regeneration combined with electromagnetic pulse therapy. It is something we developed on Earth during the integration wars. It can force damaged cells to rebuild themselves correctly." "That technique is considered dangerous," Tony Gray said. "It could cause permanent genetic changes." "The alternative is death," Nathan replied. "I would rather save someone's life and change their genetics than let them die." Nathan looked around the medical bay. Patients were suffering on every bed. Some were crying out in pain as the crystals cut through their bodies. Others were already unconscious, close to death. "I am going to try the treatment on Zilka," Nathan announced. "If it works, we can save the others. If it does not work, she will die anyway." "I cannot allow this," Tony Gray said. "You can shoot me after I save her life," Nathan said. He was already preparing the equipment he needed. Dr. Foster made a decision. "I will assist Dr. Blake. These people are dying anyway. We have to try something." Nathan worked quickly. He attached electromagnetic pulse generators to Zilka's body and began the treatment. The machines hummed softly as they sent carefully controlled electrical pulses through her bloodstream. "What is happening?" Dr. Foster asked. "The pulses are disrupting the crystal formation," Nathan explained. "At the same time, I am using regeneration therapy to help her body rebuild healthy blood cells." The process took 20 minutes. Everyone in the medical bay watched as Zilka's vital signs slowly began to improve. The red tint in her skin started to fade. The dark lines under her skin began to disappear. Finally, Zilka opened her eyes. She looked around in confusion, then focused on Nathan. "What happened?" she whispered. "You were very sick," Nathan said gently. "But you are going to be fine now." Dr. Foster checked Zilka's blood samples. "The crystals are gone," she said in amazement. "Her blood is completely normal." Tony Gray stared at Nathan. "How did you do that?" "I used the techniques that the galaxy banned," Nathan said. "The techniques that you call dangerous." Around the medical bay, other patients began calling out. They had seen Zilka recover and they wanted the same treatment. Nathan looked at the security chief. "I can save all of them, but I need to use my methods without interference." Tony Gray, was quiet for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. "Do it," he said. "Save them all." Nathan worked for 18 hours straight. Patient after patient recovered under his care. The medical bay that had been filled with dying beings was now full of people sitting up, talking, and asking for food. The red crystals were gone from their blood, and their skin had returned to normal colors. Dr. Amy Foster could barely believe what she was seeing. "Nathan, you have saved over 200 people. This is incredible." Nathan wiped sweat from his forehead. His hands were shaking from exhaustion, but he could not stop. There were still 600 people who needed treatment. "How are the supplies holding up?" "We are running low on electromagnetic pulse generators. We need more equipment if we want to treat everyone." Security Chief Tony Gray had been watching Nathan work all day. At first, he had been suspicious of every move Nathan made, but as he watched patient after patient recover, his attitude began to change. "I have contacted the supply ships," Tony said. "More equipment is coming." Nathan nodded and moved to the next patient. This was a young Rigelian child, maybe 8 years old. Her blue skin was pale, and she was unconscious. The dark lines under her skin showed that the crystal formation was advanced. "What is her name?" Nathan asked. "Kayla," Dr. Foster replied. "Her parents died yesterday." Nathan felt anger rise in his chest. This child was an orphan because the galaxy had forbidden him from helping sooner. How many people had died while he sat in his prison cell? As Nathan worked on Kayla, alarms started sounding throughout the ship, but these were not medical alarms. These were communication alarms. Captain Murphy entered the medical bay. His face was grim. "Dr. Blake, we have a problem." Nathan did not look up from his patient. "What kind of problem?" "The Galactic Medical Council is demanding that you stop all treatments immediately." Nathan's hands stopped moving. "What?" "They say your treatments are contaminating the patients. They claim you are using illegal human techniques that violate galactic medical law." Dr. Foster stepped forward. "That is insane. Nathan is saving lives. How can that be illegal?" "According to the Council, human electromagnetic pulse therapy causes permanent genetic changes. They say the patients Nathan has treated are no longer pure members of their species." Nathan felt cold anger building inside him. "So they would rather let people die than allow them to be changed?" "The Council has also received reports that your treatment creates dependency. They claim that patients treated with human methods will need human medicine for the rest of their lives." "That is not true," Nathan said. "The treatment is permanent. These people are completely cured." Captain Murphy looked uncomfortable. "I am just telling you what the Council is saying. They have demanded that all treatments stop immediately. Any patients already treated must be quarantined to study the effects of human contamination." Nathan looked around the medical bay. Patients who had been laughing and talking moments before were now listening with fear. They understood that the galaxy wanted to treat them like test subjects instead of people who had been saved. Zilka, the diplomat Nathan had first treated, stood up from her bed. "Captain Murphy, I am a representative of the hegemony. I demand to know who gave the Medical Council authority over this situation." "The Emergency Council has transferred authority back to the Medical Council. They say the immediate crisis is over now that treatments are available. But the treatments are what they want to stop," Dr. Foster said. Nathan felt everything falling apart. After 18 hours of saving lives, the galaxy was going to force him to stop. Worse, they wanted to quarantine the people he had saved as if they were contaminated. "There is more," Captain Murphy said. "Senator Kyle Brooks has contacted Admiral Carter. The Galactic Assembly is preparing to vote on classifying all human medical personnel as biological weapons. If the vote passes, every human doctor in the galaxy will be arrested." Nathan sat down heavily in a chair. "Because I saved lives. Because the Council claims your methods are too dangerous to exist." Dr. Foster was checking her medical scanner. "Nathan, you need to see this." "What is it?" "I have been analyzing blood samples from the patients you treated. The electromagnetic pulse therapy did something else. Something beyond curing the plague." Nathan looked at the scanner readings. "What am I looking at?" Your treatment has made these patients immune to an entire class of synthetic bioweapons. Not just the plague, but anything similar. Nathan studied the data more carefully. Dr. Foster was right. The electromagnetic pulse therapy had not just cured the plague. It had changed the patient's immune systems to recognize and fight artificial diseases. This changes everything, Nathan said. How? This plague was not natural. It was designed as a weapon. Someone created it to kill specific species. But if my treatment makes people immune to synthetic bioweapons, then someone does not want that immunity to spread. Dr. Foster understood immediately. Someone wants the plague to work. They want people to die from it. Nathan stood up and walked to the communication panel. I need to contact Admiral Carter immediately. Tony Gray blocked his path. You are not authorized to make communications. Tony, listen to me. This plague was created by someone who knew exactly how galactic medicine would respond. They knew our treatments would not work. They expected everyone to die. What are you saying? I am saying someone in the medical council might be involved in creating this plague. The room went quiet. Everyone stared at Nathan. Captain Murphy spoke first. That is a very serious accusation, Dr. Blake. Look at the evidence. This plague targets genetic markers common to most species, but not humans. Someone who understood galactic biology created it. Someone who had access to genetic databases. Dr. Foster was nodding. And now, they want to stop the only treatment that works. They want to classify the person who can cure it as a weapon. They also want to quarantine the people who have been cured, Nathan added. Why would they do that unless they were planning something else? Suddenly, new alarms started sounding. These were different from before. These were emergency alarms. Captain Murphy spoke into his communication device. After a moment, his face went pale. What is it? Nathan asked. Another ship has reported plague symptoms. The merchant vessel Golden Star. All crew members are infected. How? Many people? 50 crew members. They will all be dead within 2 days. Dr. Foster checked her medical supplies. We have enough equipment to treat them if we can get there in time. No, Captain Murphy said. The medical council has forbidden any more treatments using human techniques. The Golden Star crew will receive standard galactic medical care only. They will die, Nathan said. The medical council says that is preferable to contamination with human methods. Nathan felt something break inside him. The galaxy would rather let 50 people die than allow him to save them. They would rather see billions die than admit that human medicine worked better than their ancient traditions. Keela, the young Rigelian girl Nathan had been treating, tugged on his sleeve. She was awake now, her blue skin bright and healthy. Doctor, Nathan, she said in her small voice, are the bad people going to stop you from helping others? Nathan knelt down to her level. I do not know, Kayla. My parents would want you to help other children like me. Nathan looked around the medical bay. 200 people were alive because he had ignored galactic law. 50 more people would die if he followed it. Billions might die if the real conspiracy behind the plague succeeded. He made his decision. Dr. Foster, Nathan said, prepare the medical equipment for transport. Nathan, you cannot, Captain Murphy warned. If you try to treat more patients, the medical council will have you executed. Nathan looked at the captain, then at Tony Gray, then at all the patients he had saved. Then, I guess I will have to make sure I save enough lives to make it worth dying for. Nathan gathered his medical equipment despite Captain Murphy's warnings. Dr. Amy Foster helped him pack the electromagnetic pulse generators while Security Chief Tony Gray watched nervously. Nathan, if we go to the Golden Star, we will be breaking direct orders from the medical council, Dr. Foster said. I know, Nathan replied. But 50 people will die if we do not help them, and we might be executed if we do help them. Nathan stopped packing and looked at her. Amy, when you became a doctor, what oath did you take? To do no harm and to save lives. Then we have no choice. As Nathan prepared to leave, Communications Officer Pete Morgan rushed into the medical bay. Dr. Blake, you need to see this. I have been monitoring galactic communication channels. Pete activated a portable screen. I found encrypted messages between medical counselor Vex Nara and someone calling themselves Project Leader. Nathan looked at the screen. The messages were in code, but Pete had translated them. What do they say? Medical counselor Vex Nara has been reporting on your treatments, but she is not reporting that they work. She is telling this project leader that your treatments are failing and all patients are dying. Dr. Foster frowned. But that is not true. Nathan has saved hundreds of people. Exactly. She is lying to someone. And look at this message. Pete showed them another decoded message. Nathan read it and felt cold. Phase 2 will begin when the human healer is eliminated. Nathan read aloud. Prepare the enhanced bioweapon for deployment. Enhanced bioweapon? Dr. Foster whispered. Nathan realized the horrible truth. The plague we have been fighting is just the first weapon. They have something worse planned. But who is they? Tony Gray asked. Pete pulled up more messages. The communications are coming from a hegemony weapons facility, the same facility that medical counselor Vex Nara used to work at before joining the medical council. Nathan felt all the pieces falling into place. Vex Nara helped create the plague. She made sure it would target specific species but not humans. Then she pushed to have human medicine banned so no one could develop immunity. But why would she? Want people to die? Dr. Foster asked. Control, Nathan said. If only the hegemony has the cure for synthetic plagues, they control who lives and who dies. They become the most powerful force in the galaxy. Captain Murphy had been listening to everything. Dr. Blake, if this is true, then we need to contact Admiral Carter immediately. We also need to save the crew of the Golden Star, Nathan said. And we need to do it before Vex Nara realizes her plan has been discovered. Nathan made a decision that would change everything. Pete, can you broadcast these communications to the entire galaxy? Yes, but it will take time to reach all systems. Do. Send everything we have found. Let every species see that the medical council has been lying to them. As Pete began transmitting the evidence, Nathan turned to his team. We are going to the Golden Star. We are going to save those 50 people. And we are going to do it before anyone can stop us. Captain Murphy shook his head. I cannot allow this. My orders are to keep you in custody. Tony Gray stepped forward. Captain, I have been watching Dr. Blake for days. He has saved hundreds of lives. If there really is a conspiracy to kill billions of people, then maybe we should be helping him, instead of stopping him. Tony, you could be court-martialed for this. Better than letting innocent people die. Dr. Foster was already loading medical equipment onto a transport shuttle. Nathan, we need to hurry. The Golden Star crew does not have much time. Nathan looked at Captain Murphy. Ryan, I am going to that ship with or without your permission. The question is whether you are going to help save lives or help a conspiracy succeed. Captain Murphy was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. I became a security officer to protect people. All people. If you are right about this conspiracy, then protecting you means protecting billions of lives. Does that mean you will help us? It means I will not stop you, but I cannot officially support what you are doing. Nathan nodded. That was enough. 30 minutes later, Nathan and his team were aboard a shuttle heading toward the Golden Star. Behind them, Pete's transmission was spreading across the galaxy. The evidence of Vex Nara's conspiracy was reaching every planet, every space station, every government. When they docked with the Golden Star, Nathan saw the same horrible scene as before. Crew members lying in corridors, their blood turning to red crystals. But this time Nathan was ready. Amy, set up the electromagnetic pulse generators. Tony, help me move the patients to the medical bay. We are going to save all of them. Nathan worked faster than he had ever worked before. One by one, crew members of the Golden Star recovered. The red crystals disappeared from their blood, and their immune systems became stronger than ever. Captain Jake Morrison of the Golden Star was the last person Nathan treated. As he recovered, he grabbed Nathan's hand. Doctor, they told us no help was coming. They said we were all going to die. Who told you that? Medical counselor Vex Nara. She contacted us personally to say that human medicine was too dangerous to use. Nathan felt anger burning inside him. Vexnara had personally condemned these people to death. "You are all safe, now," Nathan told Captain Morrison, "and you are immune to any other synthetic plagues they might try to use." As Nathan finished treating the last patient, alarms started sounding throughout the ship. But these were not emergency alarms. These were celebration alarms. Dr. Foster checked her communication device. "Nathan, you need to hear this." She activated the ship's communication system. Admiral Lisa Carter's voice filled the medical bay. "This is Admiral Carter to all ships in this sector. Medical counselor Vex Nara has been arrested for conspiracy to commit genocide. Evidence shows she helped create the plague that has killed thousands of people. Dr. Nathan Blake is hereby cleared of all charges and appointed as Chief Medical Advisor to the Galactic Emergency Council." Nathan sat down heavily. After 3 years in prison, he was not only free, but officially recognized as the galaxy's leading medical expert. "There is more," Admiral Carter continued. "The Galactic Assembly has voted to establish the first integrated medical corps, combining human techniques with traditional galactic medicine. Dr. Blake will lead this new organization." Dr. Foster hugged Nathan. "You did it. You saved everyone." Nathan looked around the medical bay. 50 more people were alive because he had refused to follow orders that would have let them die. Behind them on the stellar crown, hundreds of others were healthy and immune to future bioweapons. "We did it," Nathan corrected. "All of us." Captain Morrison stood up from his medical bed. "Doctor, what happens now?" Nathan walked to the window and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of people lived and worked and loved. They were all safer now because human medicine was finally accepted as a force for good, instead of a dangerous threat. "Now we build something new," Nathan said. "We create a medical system that uses the best of human innovation and galactic wisdom. We make sure that no one ever has to die from diseases we can cure." 6 months later, Nathan stood on the bridge of the medical vessel Hippocrates. Dr. Foster was his second in command. Tony Gray led the security team. Captain Morrison served as their pilot. Even Pete Morgan had joined the crew as their communications expert. The ship was filled with doctors, nurses, and medical technicians from dozens of different species. They worked together, sharing knowledge and techniques. Human electromagnetic. Pulse therapy was taught alongside Zephyrian cellular reconstruction and Alteran genetic repair. Nathan received a message from Kella, the young Rigelian girl he had saved. She was healthy and happy, living with adoptive parents on her home world. She wanted to become a doctor when she grew up, just like him. The galaxy's greatest healer was finally free, and with his freedom, humanity had found its true place among the stars. Not as conquerors or warriors, but as the species that refused to let others suffer when they had the power to heal. Nathan looked out at the vast expanse of space and smiled. There were always more people to save, more lives to heal, more hope to bring to a galaxy that had almost forgotten what human compassion could accomplish. The healing had just begun.